As it was already mentioned, for some time the paintings were a part of the collection of the last Polish king Stanislaus II Augustus. The king bought them in 1777 from the daughter of Count Friedrich Paul von Kameke, the owner of the collection in Berlin. The king placed them then in the picture gallery in his bath palace on the Isle in Warsaw. The first records mentioning both panels as a part of the Berlin collection date from 1769. The paintings were described as pendants with the titles Jewish Bride and Bride's Father writing down the dowry. It is rather unlikely, however, that these paintings were thought to be pendants from the beginning. There is a number of arguments supporting that view. In Rembrandt's pendants, men's portraits are always the left piece, and both models face each other. Their scale is the same, and sometimes they are similarly framed. The Warsaw pictures do not meet these criteria. The way the girl's painted frame is cropped on the sides and the top suggests that the painting was originally larger. The man behind a table sits, whereas the girl stands. The level of the floor the girl is standing on is higher than the level of the floor the man's chair is standing on. Moreover, in the pictorial tradition, it is scarcely conceivable that the scholar would be represented together with a young girl. In addition, the scholar is worked up in more detail than the girl. Compare, for example, the chain and other shiny elements, and the folding of their clothes. Most likely, in order to increase the value on the art market, the paintings were artificially linked together by given corresponding titles and by cutting edges to similar size. It must have happened long before 1777. There is a significant degree of uncertainty regarding the painting's earliest history. It is possible that they initially belonged to Amsterdam merchant Jan van Lennep, who lived not far away from Rembrandt's house. The inventory of the Lennep's estate from 1711 lists similar paintings one after another, although descriptions are very general and the man is described as reading. Another clue is the general inventory of the palace at Wilanów, the royal residence of the Polish king Jan III Sobieski, which date back to 1696, drawn up 5 months after death of the king. It mentions presence of several Rembrandts. 2 of them, of intriguing descriptions, were hung in the king's bedroom. Painting of the Portugal Rabbi, painted by Rembrandt in black frame, and painting of the same size Jewish girl with a hat by Rembrandt painter in black frame. What is more, there is a 18th or 19th century copy of the girl that still hangs in the palace. The paintings may have come from a larger batch of painting, both for the Polish rulers in 1672 in Nimwegen by French ambassador to Poland, Marquis de Bethune. Sobieski's successor, August II the Strong, may have moved the paintings to his old master's gallery in Dresden, where they may have been noted in the inventory of 1742. The next clues refer already to the Berlin collection. The last Polish king bought paintings notably from this Berlin collection. After the death of the last Polish king, the paintings were bequeathed to the king's heirs and then sold in 1815 to the Polish aristocrat Kazimierz Rzewuski, who moved to Vienna. Later, the objects were inherited by the Polish noble family Lantz-Koroński, also based in Vienna. From 1902, the paintings were exhibited for a larger audience at the Palace of Lanskoroński family in Vienna as original Rembrandts. After the Second World War broke out, the paintings were confiscated by the Third Reich authorities. In 1944, they were hidden in salt mine in Altausee, close to Salzburg, Austria. Recovered by US troops, they were moved to the central collecting point in Munich. Retrieved by the Lanskoroński family in 1947, the paintings were deposited in the Hohenems castle, close to Austria-Switzerland border. Rescued from the fire in 1950, they were secretly moved to Zurich and deposited in the bag there. Since then, they became unavailable for searches for about 50 years. Finally, in 1994, the last member of Lanskoroński family, Karolina Lanskorońska, donated them to the royal castle in Warsaw. The paintings were always a subject of a great interest and endoscopied many times. Overall, there are 8 copies of the girl and 5 of the scholar in form of oil painting, miniatures and etchings. These copies don't match the quality of the original and vary in details. Among the earliest and the closest to the girl's original is the copy that remains in the National Gallery of Denmark. Since the acquisition by the Royal Castle in Warsaw, the paintings are exhibited internationally, receiving a wide public attention. These are 2 of 3 paintings by Rembrandt which remain in Poland. The third, Landscape with the Merciful Samaritan from 1638, is now in Krakow in care of the National Museum. Genuine Rembrandts undoubtedly hold a great historical value, as well as a financial one. In 2009, Rembrandt's portrait of a man that had been hidden in a private collection for nearly 40 years was sold at auction in London for a record price 20.2 million Great Britain pounds. Pendant portraits of Martin Solmans and Oppian Kopit 1634 were sold in 2015 for $180 million US.